Hiya. Today I'm going to do a really simple, quite soft neutral makeup, and a little bit like I did the other day. No harsh lines, no real details, but just how super simple can still look really polished. So I'm going to start with a little bit of CC cream. This is the original formula and I'm in the shade medium. And yeah, I'm using all my IT Cosmetics things today. This is the beauty book from this year. And there's been a few days recently where I've just used kind of creamy eyeshadows and potentially gone a bit softer than I usually would. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you feel any less polished if you still put loads of attention to detail when you're using those softer colours. So I've just kind of got into the habit of doing that. Hilariously, I have been threatening to do this kind of loads of colours TikTok that I was working on the other week, and I've just fallen off the face of the earth with that because I just, when I think I said this recently, when you're not sure what you want to wear, it's just not the day for a big bright colour. So these little neutrals are quite nice for when you want to feel put together, ready for your day of Zooms, whatever it is you're doing, but you don't have to think about where everything goes because everything kind of blends into one. Now I'm taking a little bit of the CC cream across my eyelids as well. You can obviously use a separate concealer for this, but to be honest, I just find that using the CC cream gives me enough coverage there. And I've got a good bit left, so I'm just going to add a little bit more coverage, in particular where my redness would show through and also through the centre of the face. Now, to be honest, I feel like that's plenty of coverage right here and now, but the reality is I've got the ring light on today because it's a bit dark and I know I'm going to be under a hot light all day, and I'd rather put a little bit more on now and have it last the day than look at my makeup in a few hours' time and need to be topping it up. So I'm going in now with a little bit of translucent setting powder, and for the moment I'm just going to do the centre of the face and I'm going to let the rest kind of sit and stay fresh. I may add a bit more to the outside in a moment when I come to do my bronzer, because I like, if you're putting powder on top of cream, I like to have completely powdered so that nothing clumps in any way. And I'm just brushing my brows through. I'm not going to put anything on them because when I've done this, Simran, if you're watching, I am going to do a little brow TikTok for you. So no brows in today's video, but I've given them a little brush. Okay, I'm going to go in with this kind of creamy grey today called Latte. And I'm going to take this all over the lid. I wish I had my little hand mirror here. Oh, I have. I beg your pardon. I'm going to get my little Miss Piggy. So I'm going to take a soft wash of grey all over the lid, just up to the crease. Now, as you can see, this is a really, really soft colour. So the great thing is, if you just wanted to wear this on its own or something soft like this that you've already got, you kind of don't need to worry about necessarily, blending it too much in the socket or adding another colour to blend it out. I am going to do that, but it's not essential because I've gone for something so sheer. But the nice thing about adding that little bit of shimmer to the lids is that it will just reflect the light, and, even things like I'm a little bit red in the inner corners and things like that. Sometimes something that looks like it won't make a difference can make a big difference to just how put together you feel. So I've gone in with that colour all over. I'm going to take a nice fluffy brush in some bronzer. I do this with pretty much every makeup. I just think a little bit of bronzer through the socket, no matter what colours you're wearing, works absolute wonders to liven everything up and make it all look a bit more blended and seamless and a little bit more polished. It just, see the difference? It just gives it that extra bit of, I've done my makeup today, but it's very soft. Now, I always like to show you what I'm using so that you've got an idea, and I list everything in the description. But I cannot emphasise enough, like, you have probably got colours somewhere that match these descriptions. And even if you don't, you could use the same technique of taking one colour on the lid, another colour through the socket. Like, I never want you to think that I'm saying this will only work with these particular products. You know, just slot in what you've got at home. I'm gonna take a softer shade now, like a highlighter shade, and go underneath those eyebrows. And again, this is the most subtle step that, to be honest, looking straight on, you'd be thinking, it doesn't even look like I've done much. But when this catches the light, when you're walking about, or, you know, if you were in a place where you were having photos taken or a special occasion, it's the kind of thing that picks up in the pictures. And now that I've got both of those colours on, I'm going to build that bronzer a little bit more, just that I really feel like there's something going on there. And to be honest with you, I know I've been harping on about this being fresh, but this does feel especially fresh. So I'm going to take a little bit of that highlighter colour in these inner corners, just to make sure that I'm really emphasising every little bit that I can to bring in a bit of light. I might take a tiny bit of sparkle just in the centre of those lids. See, even that just gives it an extra bit of dimension and makes it a bit more 3D. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with loads of mascara. So I'm going in with Superhero mascara today. I'm going to try not to get any in my hair. It'll be a miracle if I manage to do that, but we'll see. And then another thing that I'm going to do, which I had a little play with yesterday, and I thought, oh, I'm not sure if I've done a video on that. One of the loveliest, easiest ways to get your blusher and your lipstick to match is to use the same thing on both. So I'm going to take one of the lipsticks from this book. Let me just sort this. I've got my foundation on a really large brush. Hang on. Oh, I've got a little wipe. There we go. I'll sort that in a second with some more CC cream. I'm going to take a nice cream on the cheeks and the lips so that everything matches up. And again, something simple like that can really make everything look really polished and put together. And it saves you using two different things. So, even though I've got a nice layer of mascara on, I'm just going to really go over it and make sure I've built it up to quite a strong finish. Lovely. Even that, I feel like, takes a bit more shape once you can see it all in a wider context. And you know, for lots of people, this is exactly the kind of colours that you'd want to wear. I feel like I always, to be honest, I just love browns. So I always end up doing videos on browns. But like, this will be someone else's equivalent of the browns in terms of how often they like wearing the softer creamies, you know. Now, I'm just putting on a bit of translucent setting powder all over so that everything's nice and flawless before I go in with my bronzer. And then I think I'm going to use a nice fluffy angled brush. I'm just tapping off any excess on the back of my hand, and I'm going to really gently take this around. I got a really good question the other day, and it's been a while since I've had my roots done, but someone had said to me that she's blonde, and how do you avoid getting, you know, foundation or bronzer or any makeup printing in your hairline when you're blonde? And it's such a good question, and that is something that always happens to me whenever I've had my roots done. And the simplest way, I would say, is always start with your product in the centre of your face and work it outwards. And that way you should find that the centre of your face looks really flawless, and that's always the part that someone's eye will go to anyway. So that's the bit that it's nice to keep really in check. And then as you go further out, you've got less and less product towards the edge of the face, so it's less likely to run into that hairline. So if you've not thought of that before and that happens to you, that's a good thing to keep in mind. Now, I'm just going to brush through these brows again, in case I've messed them up a bit putting the bronzer on. I'm going to go in with that creamy eyeshadow on a little fluffy brush, and I'm just going to highlight the tops of these cheeks. I've done the brow bones, and you're almost going to marry where the brow meets the cheek. And already this is feeling really polished. I know it's not the brightest makeup in the world, but I feel like if you were a bit tired or you just wanted a bit of a glow, I'm not going to lie, the ring light helps as well. Like, the reason I don't like to use the ring light is I do feel like it's a little bit deceiving, and this probably looks a bit glowier because you've got all of that light on it, but I'm not going to argue about the glow at the same time. And as well, like, it's so, because there's no sun today, I'd rather you see what I'm doing and it be a bit brighter than me be in the dark trying to show you exactly where to put everything. Okay, I'm going to go in with a little bit of liner, and one of the things I'd always remind you of is, like, you don't need to follow the exact shape of your lips. If you want to even them out or whatever it is, you go for it and put it wherever you want. So I kind of plump up the edges because they're a bit asymmetric. So funny, I had a lady the other day leave me a comment. It was on TikTok, and she was like, why is one side of your lip bigger than the other? And I wrote back, like, that's what I look like. Like, what a stupid question to ask. Why are any of our features the way they are? Anyway, that was a nice experience from the other day. Okay, I'm going in with, this is the main colour I've been using, Brisk. Now, the reason I really like this, if you can see, it's not quite pink and it's not quite peach. It's somewhere in the middle. That kind of colour, if you've got it in your blusher, in a lipstick, anything, is really lovely because it goes with everything. Because it sits in the middle, it's not going to clash. So if you like to mix up your colours, it's going to be great. I'm actually scooping this out with the back of a brush. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, apply some to my lips. So here we go. Lovely, that's feeling nice. Can you see what I'm doing? There we go. And now I'm going to take, I've still got a lot on my hands, so I'm going to have to be careful with this. I'm going to take my foundation brush, which has still got like a little bit of product on it, and I'm going to gently buff a little bit of this onto that brush and go onto my cheeks. And that way the tone of those is going to match. You've got the excess foundation to kind of soften. It's not going to be like an absolute in-your-face pink, but all of the kind of, what's the word, tones are from the same family. And it looks nice and dewy because cream blushes are always really luminous. And there we go. I think I'm going to stop there. Usually I'm like, hang on to every single second of my 15 minutes, but that feels nice to me. Hope you enjoyed. If there's any particular colours and things you want to see, look at me still having a chat because I've got 30 seconds left. there's any particular colours you want to see, let me know. Anything quick that I can do in like a little reels or something, let me know. And Simran, I'm about to do my brows for you now if you're there. Okay, thanks for watching and I'll talk to you soon.